Saints go on to lose and thus fail to clinch the NFC South. With that, we are now joined by six-time Pro Bowler Gerald McCoy, who spent a lot of time facing Drew Brees in the NFC South. You faced him 17 times. You sacked him, I believe, 3 times in your career. You do know him very, very well. Good morning. So let's start with Drew Brees. What did you make of his performance in the game last night?
Drew. Well, first off, good morning, everybody.
Good morning,
now
Gerald.
we got to get to Drew. You know, I've had the opportunity to actually work out with Drew in the offseason. Every offseason, I actually train with Drew Brees. And he's actually become a family friend of mine. So I know Drew, and I know his competitive nature. He wants to win everything. And he doesn't like losing. So sitting out, not playing, I know was getting to him. But I think in this instance, he came back a little too early. He just didn't look comfortable. I don't know if he was in pain or what was going on, but he just couldn't get a rhythm. They showed something that said he's never started 0-5. Not only did he start 0-5, he threw an interception. That's not Drew Brees. And in my experience of playing him, Drew is a flammable quarterback. That offense is flammable. You have talents like Alvin Kamara. I know Michael Thomas was out yesterday. But when that offense gets going, they're hard to stop. And yesterday, they just didn't look like that scary offense that's been putting up all these yards. That Drew just came back a little too early. I think he should have took another week, maybe 2. You know, they were doing fine. I believe they have enough to win the division. I don't think he should have came back this fast.
So I'm not overly concerned about the Saints because I do not think this is what their offense is going to look like at all come playoff time. Obviously, Brees wasn't right. And obviously, come the playoffs, they'll have Michael Thomas back as, again, a lingering storyline of the season. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Michael Thomas on IR now for the rest of the year. Why? Because of an injury he suffered in week 1 when Sean Payton left him on the field up $1 million to try to rub it in against the Bucs. That still, to this day, is one of the single biggest coaching decisions of the year, and it's been underrated almost everywhere outside of these quarters. But here's why I think the Saints were smart to bring Brees back. They were losing this game anyway, and Brees was going to look rusty in his first game back no matter what. And next week, they do need to win. They do need to go ahead and beat Minnesota, and they need to beat Carolina in week 17, A, to have any chance of the bye. That is probably gone. But B, to at least hold on to the 2 seed and position themselves as well as possible for a playoff run. To get the 7 seed in round 1 of the postseason, probably Arizona, an Arizona team with no playoff experience, and to try to get to the Super Bowl, which is the whole point of why Drew Brees keeps coming back year after year. So I think they were drawing incredibly slim against the Chiefs no matter what, and I would expect Drew to look far better next week because I thought he looked far better in the second half than he did the first half. Yeah. I thought you saw him knock some of the rust off after the opening 4 or 5 drives of the game.
Yeah, so he completed the longest pass that he had in 3 years, that 51-yard bomb. So it's like, oh, I guess you are good. So, Gerald, do you think there's benefit to Drew not only physically shaking the rust off, but sort of seeing what the Chiefs, how they play him, like actually being on the field in case we see this matchup in the Super Bowl?
Well, definitely. Drew is a first ballot Hall of Famer, obviously. And with any experience, he's going to be able to gauge what he can do better. To kind of answer a little bit of what I just heard. If the Saints were going to lose anyway, why not just stick with Taysom Hill? Because Drew Brees, he's talented enough and has enough vet savvy to not have to have 3 to 4 games of rust knockoff. You know, he could have waited and played next week. He could have waited and played the week after. And I certainly agree with the fact that they were going to lose anyway. If they jump on that ball in the end zone, we having a totally different conversation. Right. And this is talking about the offense. The defense gave Patrick Mahomes fits, but they did the one of the things that I said they needed to do, they didn't do. They did not stop the run. They did not stop the run. They didn't blitz him, and they gave him trouble all game. He got hit more than he's been hit. He got sacked more than he's been sacked. He's been pressured more than he's been pressured with a 4-man rush. So they had him all over the place. The defense was doing their part. They gave the offense chances. Yeah. The offense didn't capitalize on it. So when they didn't stop the run and having untimely penalties with Cam getting thrown out the game, that kind of just threw them off. But if they jump on that ball in the end zone, we're having a totally different conversation.
Wilds, I know or I don't know, but I'm guessing you want to ask Gerald about Cam Jordan being thrown out of the game. So I'll be very quick here. I think Gerald makes a really good point. The Saints defense absolutely gave the Chiefs fits, played as well as you could against the Chiefs, which is why they only scored 32 points. I mean, imagine if the Chiefs offense had been actually clicking. I mean, 40, 50, I don't know. But at this point, you hold the Chiefs to 32, you feel really good about it. Listen, I'm serious. I thought they had a really good game plan. They hit Mahomes. They dropped. I'm not being.
They are.
Yeah, you held them to 32.
Even so, they scored that many points. The Saints offense is good enough to score with them. They gave. I mean, you can try and slow down the Chiefs, but you can't give them that many chances. You cannot give them that many chances. If the Saints are scoring as they're stopping the Chiefs or trying to slow them down, then we're having a totally different conversation. They can't just run the ball. If the Chiefs are not running the ball like they did yesterday, things are not opening up like they did. Once they start running the ball, things start to change. Patrick Mahomes made some magical plays yesterday. He made some incredible plays, but that's why he's getting $2 billion. I mean, what can you say, Patrick Mahomes?
Got a raise. Gerald, what was your take on Cam Jordan's ejection? He handled it like super professionally. It's just like, oh, okay, that's what it is. And after the game, he's like, he didn't put blame on anyone but himself. Do you egregious sort of act and called for ejection, or just kind of like football being played?
Yeah, I think it's just football. You know the difference in guys just being punched, like the kid who, when Saints played Chicago, I believe it was. Yep. That's openly right. Just going and punching somebody. I've been in D-line, and I've done what Cam has done plenty of times. Sometimes when you try and get guys off you, your fists might be closed, your hands might be open. You just trying to get the guy from stopping, grabbing the inside of your jersey. I don't think it was enough to where he should have got ejected. I personally, I don't. This is the NFL. This is man on man. This is a potential Super Bowl matchup. We playing the best offense in the league, and this guy is holding me clearly, and you're not doing nothing about it. I'm just trying to get him off. I don't think it was ejection worthy.
I think Gerald's being too kind here. I think the Chiefs would have won anyway, but that was an outrageous ejection. That is, you've got to understand it in the context of that play is still going on. That what Cam Jordan did, if it's while there's a loose ball on the ground and there's a pile being peeled off and the play is clearly dead, then you get kicked out for it. But Andrew Wiley is still blocking him. And I understand Mahomes has thrown the ball already. You can't kick a player out for this. And I do believe the Chiefs would have won anyway. But if I'm a Saints fan, I say it's 15 yards. Our best defensive player gets kicked out. And on the very next play, they run an option right to Cam Jordan's side and score a touchdown. I mean, it is
right to him.
I'm obviously the resident Chiefs fan. I thought that was a way overzealous ejection, especially for a player of Cam Jordan's reputation, which is not of a dirty player or a cheap shot artist. Like, I was shocked when they announced the ejection. If I were a Saints fan, Jenna, I'd have been very, very upset about that.
All right, well, it obviously, I don't know if you'd say it cost them the game. They couldn't pull it out afterwards, and the Chiefs once again made Nick a very happy man this morning. Next up, Another veteran quarterback. We're talking about Tom Brady needing yet another epic comeback to beat the Falcons. But how much credit does Brady deserve? Gerald's sticking around to give us his answer next. First things first.